Alaskan Embers, reading number 2. I'll tell you and tell you and tell you. In the Air Force, we tell you what we're going to tell you, then we tell you, and we tell you what we told you. And then you might retain it. Anyhow, so today we're going to read another Illuminati short vignette. Yesterday we read Mary, Illuminati's short vignette. I noticed I missed the postscript he had on Mary, so I'll read that first today. And then I'm going to read Illuminati's biography from 20 years ago, which different people have longer biographies, some people have shorter ones. Then we'll do the reading of Perry. And I will remind you that if you want to, you can send me some input for Alaskan Embers Storybook number 5. And if I select whatever you send me, I'll send you a check for $25 to buy a hamburger at McDonald's and maybe a Coke. And this was called Alaskan Embers Storybook because in my mind's eye, the embers were reading stories around the embers of a fire. Maybe a campfire. Maybe your campfire. And then I'll encourage you to like or dislike the videos. I very much encourage you to subscribe. And I very much encourage you to share the video with other people you know. And anyhow, let's get on with it. The postscript to Mary, and you can hear Mary from the previous video from a couple of days ago. And this is a postscript that actually Illuminati furnished me 20 years ago. In the telling of this story to me, which would have been Emil, Mary and her husband clearly felt that there was a relationship between these government people, the old spam can, and the Naginla a relationship that was largely controlled and made to exist because of the powers inherent with the Naginla. For the Naginla certainly was known about and talked about long before the government people and the spam cans. And the Naginla would be known about and talked about long after government people and spam cans have gone. And I made that notation in the last video that many of the people who furnished me stuff for the first 4 Alaskan Embers storybooks are gone. And I was talking to Emil a couple of days ago so he wouldn't be surprised when he saw my readings. And he said, yeah, that's fine. And he also said, oh, by the way, Mike, I'm going to be 90 years old next month. I said, that's impressive. And if you go online and look up Illuminati, he has a ton of stuff out there. But anyhow, I said I'd read Illuminati's biography that he furnished for me 20 years ago. Illuminati was born on 11 March 1933 at Koyukuk on the Yukon River. Mr. Nadi has had a long, distinguished career supporting Native rights, Native educational growth and enrichment, and preservation of Native cultures throughout Alaska. He recently was instrumental in establishing an Alaska Native University to be located in Anchorage. Mr. Nadi, I could talk about that for a little bit too, but I won't. Mr. Nadi attended grade school at Ruby on the Yukon. I had a sister named Ruby. Anyhow, and Emil didn't write that, I just said that. And at Aklutna near Anchorage, where he went to grade school. He graduated from Malechkum High School, Sitka, in 1951. He served with the Navy from 1952 to 1956. His service to Alaska Natives is apparent by the many leadership positions he has held. And I'll tell you again, just look on the net and you'll find them all over. These include current president of the Alaska Native Foundation 20 years ago, president of Doyon Limited, one of the 3 largest Native corporations in Alaska many years ago, president of the Alaska Federation of Natives many years ago, plus numerous state of Alaska jobs which directly affected the betterment of health and social services. The state of Alaska jobs include Commissioner of the Department of Community and Regional Affairs, Acting Chief of Staff for the Office of the Governor of Alaska, Director of Legislative Relations for the Office of the Governor. He also found time to start and run the Imalnati and Associates Job Placement Service. As a springboard to the above accomplishments, Mr. Nadi had, in his younger years, obtained an electrical engineering degree from the Northrop University in California. And finally, in recognition of his outstanding contributions, he has an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the Alaska Methodist University and is President Emeritus of the Alaska Federations of Natives. Wow, Emo, and that's when you were in your 70s. Now you're in your 90s. You're going to be in your 90s. I'm impressed. Percy was hunting by himself in the hills behind Unalakleet. He spent the night on a ridge overlooking a valley. He was looking for caribou and moose. After supper, he crawled into his sleeping bag and was listening to the night sounds he was enjoying. He was enjoying the solitude. The sound that caught his attention was indistinct at first, but in a while it became clear. He thought it was strange that he could hear caterpillars down in the valley. There were no roads in the area, so he concluded that the noises came from National Guard maneuvers in the area. The next day, he went into the valley looking for his buddies that he knew would be down there playing war games. He found nothing, not a sign of any movement where he heard the heavy equipment noises coming from. Strange. He knew he heard the machinery very clear, yet there was no sign or sound during the day. He continued his hunt, working his way along the hill above timberline when he passed a bush that caught his attention. When he examined it further, he discovered it covered a small entrance to a cave. He decided to see what kind of a cave it was. Maybe it was an empty bear den. When he got inside, he discovered that it opened up into a larger room, a room that he could stand up in. He walked further back into the cave and could sense that it opened into a large and high room. He sensed this more than anything because it was totally dark and he could see nothing. All of a sudden, he became aware that there was something else alive in the cave with him. Maybe more than one something. He also became aware of a very strong odor. His hair stood up because he could not see anything. He decided to get out of the cave and slowly back towards the entrance that he had come through. Percy approached me with the idea that we could go back to this cave and capture or kill one of these things, whatever they were. His plan was to get 3 or 4 of us with miner's lamps on our head and carry a sidearm and a rifle and go into the cave and capture or kill whatever it was that was there. He reasoned that whoever got one of these first would be rich and famous. I told my 75-year-old Athabascan mother about his plan and asked her what she thought about it. She had spent her life trapping and fishing along the Yukon River and was well aware of the lore of the woodsman. Her advice to me was, forget it. These things are super intelligent. If you leave them alone, they leave you alone. If you bother them, they will get your kids. I figured it was best to follow the advice of someone who had spent her life around such things. And that was Percy by Imalnati. So, a reminder, send me some input for Alaska Storybook number 5. And if I select your input and include you in book number 5, you will eventually be read on one of my channels. and you'll get a check for $25. Hamburgers and drinks at McDonald's. Yeah. Again, I encourage you to like or dislike this reading. Please subscribe. That'll always be good. And please share this video with people you know. And I'm Mike Carter. My phone is 907-240-6044 in Anchorage. Thank you.